Hey everybody, how's it going? So thank you for coming back for episode 2 of Fundy Funspot. And what an episode 1 that was. I couldn't have even pictured it going any better than it really did. Thank you so much to you guys. Really do just feel the love just coming from every single one of you. And I love to blow it all out of proportion, but it really does mean the world to me. So I'm going to start this episode by throwing out a question to you. How do you guys feel about... bear with me, about robbing the idea that Masked Bandit had for Summerdale and me opening up to Steam submissions for buildings for you to include in the town? Answers in the comments below. Are you up for it? Are you not up for it? Is it tacky? Is it stealing somebody else's idea? Let me know what you think down below, because I'm really keen to say thank you to you guys and to include you in this project, because without you, none of this is worth doing, right? So... let me know below what you think. And for those of you that joined for the first time, of course, welcome. This is Fundy Funspot. We're building a British seaside park, and we're dealing with low budget but loved. So we are plagiarising the hell out of Fantasy Island in Skegness. And the other thing that came out of episode 1 is the sheer warmth that you guys have for Fantasy Island. I'm glad I chose Fantasy Island as the base for this park. Like, you guys are so warm towards it, you love it. So this is what we've built so far. This is Fundy Funspot. So called because of 500 subscribers. This is the special, so you know what to do if you're not already subscribed. Thank you in advance. So we're building our town. We're going to have a beachfront. It's very much modelled probably on the seafront of Hove and Brighton, because it's easier to model than the seafront of Skegness is. So we've got our road and we've got our main part, and we are plagiarising the idea of having a dome. We've built already in episode 1 the pirate area, so we've got an entrance down here which is going to be something different. We've got a side entrance here that comes into the pirate area. We're dealing with ultra realistic, just like all of the other stuff that I do. The top tips videos, the Raygate Lake project and everything. We're dealing with ultra realistic stuff here. We're using ThinkMaker's Toolkit, and I'm also putting together a bit of a snagging list, because there's still some stuff in here I'm still not very happy about, that I just want to change, but I want to know how the dome's going to come together. So yeah, we built this pirate area. We've got swashbucks, we've got Miatis, we've got the gallery, the galley, we've got the toilets. We put in our bobsled roller coaster, which is all very fake indoor stuff, cheaply thrown down scenery, paper mache stuff. You know, you get the idea if you've watched episode 1. And then we also, just out the front, we did this awesome sweet shop. I've come back into the game after a couple of days out of it, and it just loaded at this screen, and I just thought, oh, it's just exactly as I wanted that sweet shop to be. So yeah, so we did the sweet shop, and we also did Pontoon, which is our typical, almost like chained bar, UK chained bar thing that we put in. So it's yeah, it would be one of those types of bars that would be open all year. This middle bit would be cleared off, and there would be a dance floor and stuff. So this episode, because I'm waffling, right, and I know how much you guys love my waffle, so I'm so weird. I'm not even sorry. So here we are then. This is what we're going to do this episode. Thank you so much for everybody that replied about the ghost train. The ghost train stays. That's a no-brainer. Absolutely, the ghost train is staying, so I'm going to need to find a way of making that a thing. And I also want to work on this area down here now, so the more adventure area where we're starting to use the desert theming, you know, the adventure toolkit stuff. And I already know what's going to come in this area as well. I've sort of had a think. So I reckon, without further ado, I'm just going to shut up and we're just going to get to the first update. So here's that first update, and of course I promised the ghost train was staying, so that's what I've done. But I've paused myself before I got a little bit too carried away, because I've done quite a lot of work on the ghost train to actually make this work. Turns out it's quite difficult to get pirate and ghost train to merge together. I mean, there's a few things that cross over, skeletons and wood and smoke effects and certain lighting and stuff. So it is possible to do, but it's quite difficult to do. So like I say, I've stopped myself here, so the outside is just a face view at the moment. I need to sort of work on how I'm going to make that look, and I'm going to be taking some cues from, I think, Battle Galleons at Alton Towers for the external. But inside we've kind of got a bit of a coherent story. but not coherent story because it's not very big. So we're a little bit limited to what we can actually do. So the idea is, I kept it with the huntsman because they look like boats, right? It's that wooden effect. And so you come through a corridor. Don't really know. Whoops. Hello. I don't really know what the purpose of the whole corridor is going to be yet, but you're eventually going to come out into like the village area. So bearing in mind that this side of the ghost train you're in a village, it felt like this needed to be a reflection of what's outside, but the idea is this is a harbour. So you're on the water, so you've got the bluey type purpley colour concrete flooring to make it look like water. Can't use real water, the space is too small. So you come in and there's all of the village this side, and then there's a little bit of a jail type thing here with some characters and stuff that will be in here, and then we come to what is essentially the front of a building, but up here is going to be the ceiling because this is the end of the dome here, right? So this is going to be a ceiling, so it's just going to have some details and stuff on here, more characters and more things going on in this area, right? Then we're going to go underneath a bridge. And then we're going to come into what is essentially the open water bit. So we're just going to go through the bridge into the open water bit. And there's going to be a shipwreck on the rocks here. Some lighting and stuff to make it look decent. Maybe some animatronics. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that yet, but some animatronics. And then you eventually come back to more buildings where you get another prison and some more stuff going on here. Some more stuff going in here. Some stuff going on in here, and then you come back to the station. So like as a ghost train, this is probably a bit disappointing because it's very short, but what we have to remember is this would be a space filler, so this would have been put in just to fill this area rather than waste it. So they're doing the best they can with the space that they've got. The track originally was a little bit longer. It sort of wrapped around itself, but it didn't really lend itself very well to having this shipwreck in the middle. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the coherence, the storyline that's here. I mean, it's very short, but it does what it needs to do in terms of space filling. So realism wise, I've then had to start thinking about stuff. So I need to put in fire exit at some point, so there need to be some kind of fire exits at the back here, and then I need just to make it work, so watch this space on that. But I've started to put in the galleys at the top, so we've got where the lights and everything would be, and then you've just got the walkways like we did in Reigate Lake with Curse of Drakeford Manor. So just putting in the walkways and everything that would service these galleys, and then I just need to decide what the strategy I'm going to have coming across this way and whatever. So I just need to make that work. But I've started the access points, so you can come across the galley here and down this way. This would be a service door entrance, which would come into like this area here. That would be the background here. So this would be a maintenance entrance that way. It would come up this way onto the roof, and then you can start to service the stuff. Started to think about how I want this to be. Like I say, I think I'm going to call in quite a lot of cues from Battle Galleons at Alton Towers because I like that castle-y type effect. And I've just started to extend it down this way as well, put in a couple of shops. So of course you need a sushi shop. Surprised I didn't think of this before. Sushi shop makes absolute sense, right? And then also water. A water shop makes just as much sense. So that's kind of where we're sitting here now. I quite like building this kind of style because you don't have to do this thorough building stuff. You can sort of like make things clip and it's perfectly okay because I know that this is going to get fixed. Well, I need to think about this a little bit more, but this is going to get fixed when we start doing the shops and everything that are in the front here. So like we did with the sweet shop over the back here. So yeah, I mean it's coming together. Needs a lot of work, of course, to put all of the realism in and the detailing and stuff. So I just wanted to show you that. And there's also something else that I have been working on as well for this update. So surprise, we have an entire layout for the adventure area. So this has taken a lot of configuration because the pads and everything for flat rides are just so big. And I can't get the track mod to work, so I can't even change like the sizing and everything of the track length and angles. So this is the best that I can do. This is the shallowest that I can get this angle to be. So I just need to make this work as a ride, because the prestige of this is 17. 17, and nobody goes on it, as you can see. So I need to do something with this to make it an actual thing. So I've decided that this part of I keep calling it a dome, and it's not. I think it's going to be a pyramid. We might as well just carry on plagiarising Fantasy Island whilst we're at it, right? So I've decided this is going to be a bit of an extension, and the ceiling's going to be quite low. And the same is true over in the ghost train as well. It overshoots into a low part of the ceiling here for reasons. So we're going to have a low ceiling on here. And that's why I've started this process. That's really loud. Behave. So I started this process of how I want the building fronts to be. And I quite liked this idea of this disappearing into a building and then returning again at a key moment. So I've put this pillar in, and in real life this would be suspended above this turning platform. So that's what I've kind of done. I'm kind of making this. There we go. I'm kind of making this so it's raised up from this platform, so that it's believable, but from a distance it looks like it's attached. So that's kind of what I'm going for here, and I like this idea that it disappears into the building, and there can be some effects and stuff in here that makes this true. And then we're going to have the frontage, so we're going to have the buildings and stuff playing all along here. So this is obviously the nighttime sky, so this is all going to make sense. Then I needed to fill the gap at the front, so I thought, well, I need a small ride in here, so I've just put the merry-go-round in just as a thing. Decided to go for a double entrance. So this is directly ripped from Fantasy Island, just in a much worse way. Fantasy Island does this strategy way better than this does, but this fits, right? So I want to have some kind of info place here. Whether it's going to be a stall, I don't know, because there's no point. We're not selling fast passes in this park, so it's the actual info stall serves no purpose in this park. So I think it might just be a TMTK job, making it look decent enough. Couple of stalls then, like coffee and donuts here. Then I'm going to have a cafe here. This is just going to be like another coffee place. Again, I don't know if I'm going to make it functional. I haven't decided yet. This I want to be an ice cream parlor. So I've decided to put in the Cosmic Cow and the Gelato alla Maria. Let me know how my Italian accent is, because I think it's awful. So I just say things. Hi, I'm Nerd Chacho, and I'm awkward, and I say weird things. So I'm just going to make this an ice cream parlor in the middle here. This is going to be a bit of a seating area because it needs to be a bit of a space filler. This is obviously another entrance coming out to rides and stuff here, so I'm going to have lots of game stalls and whatever to fill in this area. This is obviously the car ride that needs work. Some more shops and restaurants and stuff that comes along here with a staff unit, just to make that bit work. Then there's going to be another dark ride. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I wanted this to be an adventure style dark ride. Really short again, just going through desert and scorpions and temples and that sort of stuff. Nothing too fancy. Don't know if I'm going to get that done this episode. I want to, but definitely next episode, because this is when we start into here. And then of course we need a coaster. Now, Jellykins coaster at Fantasy Island is very similar to this, and I wanted to do something that was similar, but I didn't at the time want to rip it off. But as it turns out, whoever, them, the one that do the junior coasters, they actually sell this model. So I just copied the model, and it fits in really nicely. And it's whoops. I'm doing really well with the camera in this one, aren't I? I wanted this idea that the roof is going to come down here, and this is obviously going to be filled out with more temple stuff, so to make it actually good. But I like how it sits. Like as you walk in, you can sort of see it there, and it's still playing with this volcano in the background. So this is I'm just going to go here. There we go. So this is going to be another like temple, and then in the background would be the volcano. So it's playing with that kind of theme. And then in this area here, I've decided it's going to be more of a beach boardwalk area. So again, this is something else that we have to use the volcano because it's the centerpiece. So I've gone for this idea of a beach boardwalk style. And we don't really have much space. We would literally have this sort of space. No, sorry, this sort of space, and that's going to be it. But I wanted it to be more Hawaiian. Obvious reasons with the volcanoes and stuff and the mountains and things. So I want this area, but that's going to be next episode anyway. So anyway, that's me waffling on about progress and everything, and I think I should now go away and get some more stuff done. So let's see what happens next. Alright, so the pirate area then is pretty much done and come together. Of course, there's a load of stuff that still needs to be done in terms of Theme Maker's Toolkit and final passes and everything, but I'm happy with how this is turning out. I've also turned the park music on just so that we can absorb that ambience. I think it's quite important to have that in here. I learnt that lesson when I did the stuff in Reigate Lake. It just felt a bit flat without the music, so I've just turned it on for this update. And this is what I meant by the Battle Galleons inspired decor. So I love the fairy tale castle stuff, but it does look a little bit fairy tale, and with the Planet Coaster pieces and everything that you can use, it does actually look quite good. There's a bit of trickery that's involved, like this is a weird like wall width. This is working on multiple buildings where I've used the station topper to create a bit of odd lengths and stuff, and there's loads of TMTK stuff around here, of course. That's what you'd expect, right? But this is kind of how I've ended it being. So inside then, I've done loads and loads and loads of work. I'm hoping that music's not going to be too loud, because of course it's going to be loud and garish in here. So remember, we're dealing with low budget, but really looked after. So everything's going to look I'm just going to move out of here for a minute. Everything's going to look really well looked after, but it would have been put together as cheaply as possible. So let's do a quick tour. So here we are in the station. It's just thrown together. It's just supposed to represent the station. It's not supposed to be any particular theme. It's just inside the castle. And then we take a walk on the wild side. We come into like the harbour area, and inside here, I've put all of the roof in. It doesn't look like it, but the roof is in. And I've put all of the gullies, and I put all the AC units and everything in, CCTV and stuff. And then yeah, so you come round the corner here. Let me just change my camera. That's really loud. I shouldn't have turned the music on, really, should I? So I've done loads and loads of triggers. So that's all. That's obviously all done, as you can hear them. And then you come around the corner, you go underneath the bridge, and then you come round to the end. So they are just showpieces. There's no real coherent story involved. It's just they've thrown all of this stuff together just to create a dark ride because they had the space to fill, and that's why it looks like everything's plonked down in places, is because that's exactly what they would have done. They would have just literally flipped through some kind of theme park catalogue, chosen a load of pirate stuff and thought, how can we shove this into a dark ride and hope for the best and make it, like a real loosely based story. So then you just come out this way. I've also done the maintenance area. There's a small maintenance area, and that's only because where is it? This bit here needed to make sense. So I had to put all of the gullyways and the walkways and stuff in all along here, and this needed to make sense. So there's a bit of a cupboard that would be in here. This is where you would find the cleaner and your mops, and this would be like a bit of a cleaner's cupboard. We are going to be doing a full backstage area, by the way. The park would have one. It's just not going to be in amongst all of the rides in the traditional sense, because this is very much about space saving and very much about making it all come together. I am just going to flip to darkness so you can see this as an actual dark ride instead of doing it at night time. During the daytime. So I've done all the lighting on the outside, and I've chosen different colour dappled lighting. So I wanted this Ghost Coast to be blue because obviously ghost, and then this is all going to be that orange dappled light because that's the castle light, and that's the lighting that you get with the the pirate set and stuff. So let's go back into the very loud, noisy ghost train. And hopefully we should then be able to see it. There we go. I should have gone into Tedge's cam, really, shouldn't I? So as you can see, it looks very different at night. This is how it would look as a dark ride. This is how it would look. And now suddenly that ceiling isn't so bright, and all of the black brick on the back does what it needs to do in terms of making it nighttime. And you come around this way, and there's the bridge. Now this ride wouldn't use any kind of effects, so they wouldn't have smoke, they wouldn't have steam, they wouldn't have anything like that, because it's just too expensive for them to run and maintain and upkeep. It would all be done on triggered lights and sounds, which is why this is so horrifically garish. And then come in this way, and this is supposed to represent like the open sea, and that's why this wall is completely blank, because you're you're going around the shipwreck. So this is supposed to represent the open sea. And then you come back into the harbour, and then I've just used the sci-fi night panels along here, but again it represents the night sky. Coming around this way with all of the stuff, a few triggered items that come along here, like the skeletons along the side, a couple of like light triggers and stuff, and then it comes out back to the station. So yeah, and it's obviously got a soundtrack, as you can hear, as you can overpoweringly hear. And then I've also just carried on the soundtrack as well into the rest of the pirate area, so that it's actually got some kind of atmosphere to it. Whoops. And then we've got the actual village itself. I think this looks really good at night, and I think this is going to look really good once we block off the external moonlight that's coming from the rest when we put the pyramid in. So this pirate area now is actually exactly as I thought it was going to pan out, and that doesn't often happen, that I have this vision and it turns out to be exactly as I thought it was going to be. Normally it's either better or it looks a whole lot worse, and I've not been able to do it. But I really like how it's turned out. So, oh, and there's one other thing to show you away from the melee of everything. Yeah, I also got busy here. I'm not even sorry about the name of this, Game of Cones. So the ice cream parlour that I was talking about in the first update is also now done. So I wanted a shop on the outside here that completely complements the sweet shop that we've got here, so that these two, or this whole thing, makes sense when it's so close to the adventure entrance and stuff. So what I've done here is this really beautifully clean looking ice cream parlour. Now this still needs a load of details, like I'm going to cover up the benches, and I'm going to make them custom benches where I put beams and stuff down just to make this better, but this is like what I wanted to do. So the idea of having the TVs and stuff in the windows, and just this open, clean but modern looking. This is glass, by the way. Modern, clean looking ice cream shop. We've seen this floor before. I've used it in Raygate and along with the wood as well. But then there's the hang on, what camera should I use? This one. And there's the counter as well. So I wanted to make this building actually work, right? But I didn't want to just... Who just screamed? Are you okay, hun? So I wanted to make this building work. And in order to do that, you have to have actual shops, right? So, but I also wanted this idea of detailing and kitting out an actual ice cream parlour. Because there's just so many decent stuff, or so much decent stuff on Theme Maker's Toolkit that you could use, that I just wanted to really draw out that look and feel. Of course, it still needs a few extra items. It still needs a bit more detailing, but this is the idea. So I've done an order bit over here where you come and place your order, and then if there's anything that you need, then you go and pick it up this side, and that makes sense as to why guests are using hatches in the wall, right? So, but yeah, this is mostly custom. So this is all the hydro stonework and some awesome machines that are out there. I'm sorry, I just don't know who has created everything. I don't keep a laundry list, unfortunately. You'll get them all when you download the park. So I'm just thankful for Theme Makers Toolkit creators, because you just make some awesome stuff. So yeah, and then you've got the freezers in front, and then you've just got over here. I've had to custom build the ice cream stand. There isn't actually a decent, or in fact there isn't one on the workshop, so I've had to create these. And these, let me just come into actual game, and let me just change the lighting. PM. There we go. So these, if it will, oh, camera. I've just pressed T 3 times. There we go. These are literally just fences sunk into the desk on Theme Makers Toolkit, and they look like ice cream scoops. So that's kind of why I've done it. I use this trick actually for balls in the games units in Reigate Lake. So that's where I've taken it from, and then I've just sunk the whole freezer unit into the countertop, and then I've just added the very massive AC unit. People are being murdered the other side of the wall, right? So it's a murder park. Don't tell anyone. No, I'm joking. It's the Swift Drifters. Is this that one? So, murder park. Yeah. So that's what I've done with the ice cream parlor. Let me just get rid of the UI again. And then that's how it looks from the outside during the day. Again, this would be something that would be open when the park is closed, so they could still trade, they could still make money, even when the rides aren't open. But this is probably somewhere that might actually be open late. We have these kind of restaurants over here, you know, like dessert houses and stuff that are open until midnight and whatever. So this is kind of how I wanted that to feel. And then I've just started the process of making this area come to life in terms of adventure, and how I want it to spread from here right up to Pontoon. But I also wanted to make sure that the Game of Cones branding and everything was out the front. And so this frontage here, it's inspired very much by I think it's called Ice Cream on the Docks, but I don't actually know what docks they are. It's just an image I found on Google, and I loved the idea that I could quite easily replicate this by using the stripy signs, the warning signs, you know, the ones we normally colour red and white or black and white for whatever. And they just work awesomely as panels. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted. Then the Hydro font on the actual canopy. So canopy is custom made. It's made out of the desks that are out on the Theme Makers Toolkit. It's called Desk B. This is what I made all of my desks, surprisingly, out of in Reigate Lake. This is, like I say, it needs so much tidying up. This is the wood siding wall that I use this on Dolgs up on Reigate Lake. So if you remember that, it's like the beach panel. I don't think there's anything else in here. It's all just intuitively put together. These are just the normal art shapes, just spread around and put into geometrical patterns. Likewise with the canopy here. So yeah, there's nothing particularly outrageously special here. So my next port of call then is to shore up, I think, the coaster and this area. I want to get this bit done, and then for the finale I'm going to get this bit and this bit done, and I think I'm going to leave the track ride because I've got something to ask you guys at the end, particularly for the ones that make it to the end. I've got something that I would like you to get involved with. So I'm going to carry on building, and I will see you next. Alright then guys, so there is so much to talk about in this one. I don't even know where to begin to show you around. So here we are at the front. We've got a front. I hadn't even planned on doing any of this, but as I was doing the inside, I needed to do the outside to have it all make sense. So we've got our ice cream shop down the bottom, we've got a chicken shop, we've got an entrance, we've got hot dogs and smoothies, we've got another entrance, and then of course we've got Pontoon, which we already know about. Massive amounts of change out the front here. Just to quickly let you know, I did some research into Fantasy Island, and I noticed that there were these weird steps in the roof, and I didn't know what they were all for, so I researched it, and it's actually to do with all the gullies and the drains and maintenance areas and stuff. Now, we can't do that in Planet Coaster. We can't have that kind of stuff, but I've been able to use this to my advantage for some of the scenery, which you'll see in a moment. So I've managed to replicate this in Fundy Funspot as Fantasy Island would have, as best I can. So Yeah, let's start out the front then, shall we? Let's just go around here. So we've got ourselves a nice little hot dog and smoothies place. I'm not quite done with it. It still needs some work alongside this entrance here and this entrance here. But I've decided that this needs to sort of sit and rest for a while, and I need to know what's coming on outside here to know how to decorate the rest, right? So I just needed to put this together just so we could have some kind of frontage going on, so I can get an idea for how the outside is going to go, particularly as the next episode we need to finish this pyramid and stuff, right? So and then of course we've got a game of cones. Nothing has changed in here just yet. I'm about to do the final detailing pass where we do loads of theme makers toolkit stuff, and I've got a bit of a hit list of stuff to do in here. But the one thing that has changed is this bit round here. So we've now got the entrance of Game of Cones, and we've also got like just some decorations and stuff that have gone up here, and I've started the process of the outside of the area here. By the way, I had some other names that I wanted for Game of Cones. So Cone and Barbarian was another one, and Cone of Dunshire. That's another one that I thought of, but no, I decided to go with Game of Cones. Because why not? So inside this area, then this is where the biggest change has happened, and like I say, this has been just so much work. I'm going to start with the best, right? So over by Pontoon, this is obviously the inside of the actual pyramid dome, whatever we're calling it. So we now have ourselves an info kiosk. So this info kiosk has been put together, idea being that it would sell tickets and would give out park maps and that sort of stuff. I'm not using actual in-game info kiosks because we're not selling fast passes, so there's absolutely no purpose to have them in-game. But I just wanted this whole idea of the temple theme. This would be fake fire, by the way. This wouldn't be real fire. This would be like the plastic flowing in the breeze ones that you get. Because they're cheap and they're obviously not fire indoors. So so I wanted this very colourful, very on brand with the Fundy Funspot, but also themed, because this is what we go for. This is this really heavily themed area. And on the ceiling then I've just added in all of the gullies that have got all the lighting, which I'll show you in a moment, because the nighttime bit is, I think, as much of the experience, because this is supposed to be dark, right? So I've put in all of the gantries, and I've also put in the AC units as well that would sit here. And I decided, against my better judgment and against my opinion that I had when I did Curse of Drakeford Manor, I've actually ended up using the blackout stuff for this. You know, the ones that you find on the workshop that's sheer black. It's because all of the other roofing that I've used so far has all had like a shimmer to it, and just don't need a shimmer. So that's what we've done. It needs a little bit of tidying up. It needs to be brought together, but that's a tomorrow problem. We've just got a supply unit. This was just the donuts and coffee place that I wanted to put in, just to almost start to obscure the view of the pirate stuff from the adventure area, but not too much and not too extreme, right? So you obviously still need to see that there's stuff here. Put down this driftwood on the floor. This came from the queue line of the coaster that I'm going to show you in a second, but I just sort of liked this idea that this would lead you into the pirate area, so you're following down the driftwood path. And we've also used the driftwood along here as well, so it's almost like that material sharing that I talk about when we talk about theming transitions, and the idea is that we're going from adventure to pirate, and they share the driftwood and they share the colour schemes and everything. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. And then we come this way, and we're going to come into the carousel, and so I wanted the idea of it being a bit of a town, you know, like almost like Mexican town. So I've put all of the windows and stuff around, and they've all got window boxes, and this was just so much work, because the adventure pieces are really good, but they're really quite difficult to work with. They're massive. They have to be used in a very specific way, and if you don't use them in the intended way that the game wants you to, then it sort of throws a strop at you and it just doesn't look very good. So this still needs a little bit of work. I don't know what that work is, but I know that this isn't exactly how I want it to finish. But it gives the idea of this town, and because you've got all of these gantries and everything that are living above here, well, there's nothing you can do in terms of roofing, so you just have to sort of believe from this kind of view that that's the night sky. This would be the top. This is the exit out to other rides and stuff. Hello, other rides and stuff. And yeah, I love this technique. This is one of the panels that you get. It's the round one that looks like a target. And you just layer them on top of each other, and then you colour them differently, and it just gives the accent of bricks. And that came from the fact that I wanted to have worn bricks on the walls, because that's the kind of decoration that Fantasy Island goes for. It's all about the painted effects. And so I wanted to show some kind of exposed brick, but I didn't have the facility to make it broken brick, so I just did that instead. And it looks really cool, actually. If you use it sparingly, it's actually quite effective. And so we come across here to a restaurant which needs a Theme Maker's Toolkit pass. It needs stuff out the front and signs and all sorts, but same principle. It's this idea of being a part of the village or the city, where there's rooms and stuff upstairs, but if you actually go inside, it just falls along here, you know, it's bouncing away. And yeah, I've used this steampunk floor for the ceiling, because it's that I wanted that I wanted that warm feeling. I wanted that almost like on fire feeling, that very warm Mexican stroke Mediterranean feel that you get. And so that's where I've come from in here. I've used very like warm colours, the reds, the oranges, the yellows and everything. And then I just put a slogan on the wall: foul play. Get it? Foul play. And the actual restaurant itself is called Poultrygeist. Guys, I'm not even sorry. And so yeah, this just needs its Theme Maker's Toolkit pass in here. I'm not going to make this as stupidly detailed as the ice cream places, because this is functional. I was going to put a bar and stuff in, but I'm quite limited with what I can do in terms of space. We've already got the bar the other side with pontoon, and we've got the ice cream place, so this feels like it would be more of a grab and go, just with a bit of a seating area. So that's what we're going for here. And then we come to our roller coaster. So this, I said earlier on, by the way, really badly pronounced, Zier. It's actually not a Zier, the Jellykins coaster. It's a WHG, I think. So similar track details and everything. But yeah, this is what I wanted to go for. Now, this does look way more expensive than it's supposed to, right? But remembering that all of this would be as fake and as horrific as you possibly can, so this would probably be some kind of plastic or papier-mâché or whatever. So even though this looks like it would be high budget, it really isn't at all. It's just really well themed and really well looked after that makes it look that way. If you actually take a look, it is just scenery plopped down on a concrete pad. It's not actually that special, and then this temple isn't really that detailed. You know, like, you look at the level of detail that the likes of Gardaland would have done for Fuga de la Lantida. It's just a completely different level again, but it's very inspired by this, and I just wanted to keep it as simple as I could. The queue line, I had this random idea of putting down and hiding the actual in-game queue line. You know, I always use some kind of padding or some kind of path cover or whatever, but I actually decided to put this driftwood down. It felt like that was part of the adventure. So we come along to the driftwood, and then I borrow the Mediterranean wall style. And again, these are just two of those adventure wall pieces placed next to each other together, just to create a thicker wall. And then it comes out into this way and then goes into the temple. So I think it works quite nicely. I've done a little bit of TMTKing in here, but not completely, so it still needs its ride staff, its push buttons, all that sort of stuff. That's coming next. But I have started to do some of the TMTK details down here, so it's got electric booths and it's got fans and stuff for underneath the station. And yeah, this is just literally throwing around scenery and stuff. I need to fix this, I don't know what's happened here. Just throwing around scenery and stuff, and a few animatronics, but they're like, it's just rubbish. It's just, you know, it's just there. And remember, this is supposed to be a kids coaster. This has actually ended up being the highest rated coaster in the park, but it's supposed to be a kids coaster, so it's not supposed to be intense. And then we come across over here, so we've just got a couple of food units and stuff that we've got like along here. Again, it's part of that city thing. And we come this way back into the Game of Cones seating area. This is the more arcadey type area that I wanted to put in. We didn't have space to put anything else in here. It just felt like this lent itself quite nicely to an arcade area. And then we've got our car ride. And this is what I've been trying to go for the whole time, in the sense that we're at the edge of the pyramid, and this would just be painted on, and it would just be a repetitive background. So these are just billboards, and I've had the image sitting on my computer for God knows how many years. But it's a repeat background image, and they are just billboards placed next to each other, and that's the level of effort that Fundy Funspot would have gone to theme this ride. Throw a few things down around the track, try and hide the track as much as possible, and throw down this really random background. But this is then going to start the transition to the Hawaiian area, so that's why I've not done the toilets behind it, and I don't think I will for this episode. But yeah, this is supposed to be a kids ride as well. This isn't supposed to be a highly detailed ride that attracts this this level of ridership. It's gone from a prestige of 17 to a prestige of about 500. It just goes to show how janked up the prestige rating is in the game. I hate it. So yeah, that's pretty much everything here. What I was going to ask you guys, and I need your answers in the comments, do we keep this as a track ride, or do we bin it off for something different? And I'm thinking along the lines of escape rooms, or do we do an aquarium like Sea Life, or do we do something different in this space? Given we've already got a track ride in the form of the Ghost Train, do we want to go all out and do this as a track ride as well, or do we just go out and make it a bit more of an experience-based building? It definitely needs to be a building, because it's going to be a sight obscuring thing between the adventure area and the Hawaiian area, but I don't know really what to put in here. I'm sort of like I'm running out of ideas to do theming as such, but whereas something like an aquarium or an escape room or whatever would be quite easy to do, because they don't have to be too interactive, and they're not going to be in use by guests, right? So, right, evening time. So let's have a look real quickly at night. So I've started the work on the nighttime look and feel. Of course, I can't do the inside of the pyramid because I've not put the gantries and stuff up yet, so I will be doing them. But this is how this is looking inside. I love how this has turned out. All I've used here is just a palette of pinks, purples, blues and yellows, and just to give a real warm colour to it. So Pontoon looks awesome, and of course you can see like the disco and whatever in the background as well. That's just an added bonus. But the info point just looks so good. So I've put a load of the box lights inside here, and it actually makes the Hydro font light up, so it actually looks like it's lit up. So that's just a bonus, and like that just, yeah. So I really like how this has turned out, and again, it's that really warm, pastel-y colours with the blue info. It's just good to look at. And then over here, obviously I've used the reds, the yellows, just as the accent lighting inside the chicken shop, Poultrygeist, inside the side, whatever they call it, the Sidewinder. No, that's not what it's called, is it? Swift Drifters. So Swift Drifters. I've just put some more like disco lighting in just to make it look decent. And then down the corridor, alternated yellow and green lights just to make it a bit of an interesting, as much of an interesting queue as you possibly can. And then I've just started the process along here as well of just putting some lights in, again different colours, just to accent what's going on inside the actual shops. And then down here you just got the throw and everything coming off of the neon sign. So I need to do the area lighting technique in this area, I think, because we've got the fairy lights, the strip lights that are going along here. Please don't walk through the planters. I need to put some barriers down as well. And then outside the front is exactly the same as well. So the front of Poultrygeist is lit up as you'd expect. Again, this would be fake flames, but it would be orange lighting. Then I've just put some colourful lighting along the entrance here, and then just up lighting along here, because I don't know what's going to go on this wall or whether I'm just going to leave it there. And then of course through Pontoon you can see the disco in the background. So that's where we're at the moment in terms of the adventure area. I'm about to do the final detailing pass, so let's see how it turns out. Alright then guys, I think it's probably time we need to bring this episode to a close. I'm slowly but surely running out of time. And I've just looked at this kind of view, and this is only 2 episodes worth of work. This is rapid pace, and it actually feels like it, right? So Reigate Lake was very much a generic theme, but make it look real. This is about combining real and my imagination, and it hurts. It really hurts. But I'm so excited to show you how it looks now. So let's go for a tour. So front of the building here then, not really much has changed. I've just put the compliance signs and everything in that I need. Like I say, I'm going to wait until I develop the outside to know what the building needs to look like, what's left to do. So just all of your standard stuff, particularly this bit here. I don't really know what I want here yet, so I'm just leaving it for now. But your hot dogs and your smoothies and stuff, that's all there. And then Poultrygeist, which still cringe. I love it. Yeah, so that's all done, and the inside is now as I want it. I'll show you inside in a moment, but this is I think my favourite bit of today, or this episode, is Game of Cones. I'm just so chuffed with how this has turned out. All of the custom benches are now in. Guests obviously do clip through it, but this is the trade-off moment. It's worth having these custom benches because they just look so good. I've put all of the stuff on the outside, so again, the compliance signs, the menus, the picnic benches, and all of that sort of stuff. And if we go inside, it just looks like an ice cream parlour. Like, it looks like one of the parlours that I've got down the road. It's just so pleased with how this has turned out. Like the order counter as well. I haven't put staff in here yet. It's on my list of things to do when we put the lid on the dome, or the lid on the pyramid. But I'm just so chuffed with how this has turned out. Like, better than I expected. This one really, really, really is. So if we come back out, I'm just going to walk through the window because we can. Just come into Poultrygeist. So there we go. Just nicely kitted out. Again, I wanted this to be a really simple seating area. Lots of fiery colours, but just like lots of wood as well. Oops, that's a wall. Yeah, so it's nice and functional. It's very simple. Does what it needs to do. Just put the services and stuff over this side, you know, where the bins and the condiments and whatever would be. But otherwise, it's just a seating area with a couple of grab and go units. Like nothing particularly special. And then we come out this way, and here's the entrance. Hello. Here's the entrance with Gulpy. Yeah, just go ahead and clip through the window, Gulpy. You know, it's fine. Carry on, mate. So we walk through the entrance here, and this is the site that you get. That, like, it's just cluttered out with all stuff. You know, like there's machines in the way, and there's small paths and lots of like decoration. And there's lots to see. It's like that overwhelm you with adventure as you walk in. And obviously we need to bear in mind that the back end of this isn't finished, so there's no lid on the dome, on the pyramid, there's no back wall over here, so all of this is going to look very different once it's all covered over. But like I say, 2 episodes, I've had enough for now. But this is the coaster. It's looking really, really good from peep view. I like how this has turned out. I wasn't too sure at the time about the actual temple itself, but actually it fits quite nicely. I'm quite pleased with how that's turned out. And then we turn around, and then we've just got the village, and again it's all just cluttered out with stuff. You know, I've put a couple of lamps around, and bins and benches, and loads of like vending machines and games machines. And actually this is probably still not cluttered enough for the likes of Fantasy Island. They would literally cram as much as they can in the space that they've got, but the game sort of throws a strop if you put too much stuff in the way and start to fence it off with the barriers and stuff. So it's a bit of a trade-off that you need. Like, I would like this to feel a bit more claustrophobic than it actually is, but then it's not usable in game. So that's the trade-off. And then we come this way, and there's the Temple Raider entrance. Again, it just looks awesome, and the path. I'm still like chuffed. I'm surprised I've not even thought about doing this. I've been playing the game for 4 years, and I've never thought about doing that. And it just looks the part. And then we come this way, and then this is the front of Pontoon. So this is our bar, and then you've got obviously that way to the pirate area. And then we come this way, and there's the info kiosk. Not much has changed here. I was already happy with how this is. Again, I need to put staff and stuff in. I've got that on my list of stuff to do of all round the pyramid. So then we walk back this way. There we go. And then you've just got the merry-go-round just on the left-hand side here, just as you walk past. Again, it was one of those I wasn't sure about the positioning, but I'm happy with that positioning now. That sort of makes sense for it to be there. And then we walk round this way to our awful car ride. Like, look how sad it is. It's just really, really sad. But the game still makes people queue for it, so it's fine. You carry on. And like I say, this has got no wall and stuff. This is all going to get done in the next episode, but this is exactly the embodiment of this kind of ride for a fantasy island style. Like Fundy Funspot would have just thrown this car ride down, put the backing up as cheaply as possible, thrown some scenery around, and call it done. You know, it's all happy. Then this area, I've just done some tidying up, done some signs and whatever, and I've let this area breathe, so I didn't want to overdo it with too much detail, so I've just let this area breathe. This is the arcade area that we were talking about. I don't know if it was in the last update, but this is kind of like just had a bit of a touch up and finalisation. Then the seating area, Game of Cones, hasn't changed. That's as it is. And then I just don't know what I'm going to do with this. Like I say, I've left it open to you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think should be there. And then, of course, we come up to the Mary Celeste. So it feels like forever ago that this is where we started the episode. It must have been 6 days, I think. 6 days ago in real life that I actually finished this. And it feels forever ago. But yeah, it's done, Mary Celeste. Inside, nothing has changed. I haven't touched it since we did the tour. It's all as it is. I'm just considering using the same technique with the blackout on the ceiling though, just to give that idea. So there you go. There's Mary Celeste. Let me just show you what this is like at night now, because I've done some work on the lighting. So there we go. There's Mary Celeste. This hasn't changed. It's still the very warm yellowy orange and the cold blue for the Ghost Coast. So yeah, that's all the same. But the work is all down here. So I've just put this really like primary colour garish lighting all around the car ride, and it actually surprisingly makes it come to life. It makes it look half good. And if you can imagine that this area would be dark in the daytime because it's inside, this is how it would look all the time. So I just need to do some tidying up and some touching up when I know what the Hawaiian theme's going to look like, and I think this is actually going to end up looking pretty good. And then I've just done some of the other ceiling lighting that's now pointing towards Temple, whatever I've called it, the coaster. So I've just added some of the purple light and the green light just to give a little bit of an accent of stuff that's going on. And then all along here, it now just looks like a very warm village. So it's got that Mexican kind of feel to it. And I like as well that all of the games units and everything are starting to light up and they're all of the same colour. So yeah, it just gives that really warm Mediterranean or Mexican kind of vibe to it. And so guys, that's everything. That is how we're sitting with the end of episode 2 of Fundy Funspot. I really hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed building this. Like I say, it's tiring because you have to drag it from the very bottom of your imagination, but this is actually very, very rewarding. I'm seeing this thing come to life, and I can't wait until the end of the next episode when we're going to be able to get it done, like the inside done. and know what the Hawaiian theme and everything's going to be. So yeah, very exciting. If you want to know when the next episode is, you know what to do. Subscribe and ring the bell and all that sort of jazz. But otherwise, guys, I've got a couple of questions open for you, so leave those answers in the comments, please. Love talking to you guys afterwards as well. I'll see you for the next episode, and of course, you already know, until we speak again, please keep safe. Take care. Bye bye.